Mga katribu, it's another Wednesday and it's time again for another episode of Straight Talk where we talk about the latest issues at hand. So for today, we have a special guest, Mr. Roel Castro, More Power President and CEO. Hi sir, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon and good day po. No? And it's so nice to be back. Well, I think the first appearance was about
5 years ago.
no, about 2 years ago. About 2 years ago. Yeah.
So can you update us on what's happening in Iloilo?
In Iloilo, yeah.
Maybe first of all, just a little background. There might be people who don't know what More Power is all about.
Okay.
Can you?
Yeah. More Power is a private distribution utility. Now, we actually got our franchise 6 years ago. For Iloilo City, and we started to do our rehab. That was in 2020. At the height of pandemic.
Wow. At the height of the pandemic.
Yeah, we actually entered through the writ of possession that was granted by the court in February 28, 29 of 2020, and 15 days after it was pandemic. Okay, so that's 2 years, not 2.5 years of pandemic. Well, but just to get into some numbers. Okay, when we came in 5 years ago, the systems loss was about 30%.
What do you mean by systems loss? The systems loss.
The systems loss. In other words, I mean, there was 30% that we were not able to collect. Okay? Unaccounted for. That's both technical and non-technical causes. No? Yeah. But now we're down to about 5%. We're actually within.
Better than Meralco.
Close to. Well, we're close to. No? So that's we're within cap, as they say.
This is a smaller area.
Now, we started with about 62,000 customers.
60,000.
That's
so much,
62,000.
I was wondering, why would Mr. Razon want a 60,000 customer base?
No, I
isn't
guess
that too small for him.
Yeah, but I think he saw that this is a way that we could, give our service, show our service to people, and
what you could do, what your company can do.
Yeah, and 5 years after, now we're about 105,000 customers. So we've grown by about over 40,000 in 5 years, and 2.5 years of this are pandemic years.
Yes.
Okay, so we were able. Well, if I correlate those two numbers, we were able to bring down the systems loss, by having those that were illegal at the time, and converted them to legal customers now.
Yes.
So that may be the main driver why the systems loss has really gone down in the last 5 years. Now, there are some metrics that we use in the industry, which is called SIFI or SIDI, which is the system average interruption, frequency and duration. So over the last 5 years, we were able to improve, by over 85-90% of what the number was. Meaning, previously, we would have each customer would have about 2 to 3 outages a week.
Wow.
Of over 5 minutes. So it may range. Well, at that time, it was even running by the hours. Right now, basically they would get few minutes of outage in 4 months, in 5 months. So practically, there's really So, how did that happen? We of course we've deployed the capital expenditure, close to about over 2 billion pesos. To improve the lines, add substations, replaced the bare wires with insulated wires, transformers, so forth and so on. And again, I mean, with that investment of 2 billion, we were really able to improve the services to people. No?
How big is the area that you service in
Then,
Iloilo?
Iloilo
Iloilo
is
City
small.
and
Yeah, it's
what-
small. It's very compact. No, it's about 78 square kilometers. No,
Beyond Iloilo, do you have
so
Santa
beyond the
Barbara or-
city, yeah. Actually, with our amended franchise, there are 14 LGUs and one city in the second and fourth congressional districts of the province, no, that are now in our franchise, in our amended franchise. Except that we are not able to operate yet, no, because we are waiting for the license or what we call the CPCN from the ERC. But Congress has already approved it. No? I mean, it was it's now a law, actually. But again, without that CPCN, we just couldn't move in. No, but nevertheless, we already expanded our primary lines. No, but so when ERC says, okay, well, you're okay to operate, then we could immediately start operations. No?
So when that's fully operational, where do you extend to? You mentioned
Well,
some-
immediately Pavia,
Pavia.
Santa Barbara,
The airport-
San
the
Miguel,
airport
going
area.
towards the airport area. No, and then on the other side you have Zaraga. No, on the other side, on the left side actually you have well,
Coton.
yeah, on that area.
All the way to Antique, no?
No, not yet. No, hindi naman. No. So, yun. But well, the question actually is how did it happen?
Yeah.
No? Yeah. Well, I guess it was really the clamor of the consumers actually in those districts. No, they went to their mayors, they went to their congressmen, no, and asked them to sponsor well this franchise application to be included in Moore's franchise.
Yes.
No, and well, yun. I mean, Congress and Senate granted that. No.
Oh,
There must be a
so
lot
for
of,
amending the franchise, you need to go to Congress, huh?
Yes, yeah.
There
Because
must be a
Congress
lot,
gave it to you. Eh?
there must be a lot of petitions for that. No?
Yes, actually, a lot, no? I mean, especially coming from the consumers. And why is that happening? Well, we know that, no? I mean, the city has its boundary, no? And then just a highway in between us and the province, and that on their side, it's being operated by the electric co-op, no? And they, of course, I mean, the people could see the difference. Number one, on price. No, consistently for the last 2-3 years, I mean, we've been way below the prices of the electric co-ops. But more importantly, the kind of service. No, so again, in our case, as I've said, outage is I think a few minutes in 4 or 5 months. No, well, compared to the other side, which is more rampant. No, and then when it comes to response, we have a quality service indicator, no, that we have to resolve everything within 15 minutes, or at least have a turnaround
Within 15
within
minutes.
15 minutes. Once we,
Once you
once
get a
we
call,
get a
yeah.
call that there's a complaint for a house, or let's say one block, so within 15 minutes we should be able to resolve it.
So people
No,
outside
so-
the franchise area, your
Felt it.
original franchise area saw that.
Saw that,
So
yeah.
they
That's
clamored for the same service.
That's correct. Yeah.
Now, can we talk about Bacolod? How did you get into the Bacolod area?
It's the same story. It's the same story.
Bacolod happened when? What year? What year was this?
Bacolod, actually, we started operation there sometime last year, mid last year.
You done it. Was there any? Were there any challenges or something?
A lot of challenges. Well, number one,
Seneco, no? From
that was Seneco, yeah. So I guess it's the same story, no? Businessmen between Iloilo, Bacolod, you know, I mean, we traverse, no?
Yeah.
We have relatives here and there.
We're very much
no?
related.
Yeah. So they knew, those from Bacolod, they knew what was the state of the electric service before we came in.
Yes.
No? And then, well, again, I mean, over the period of 5 years, I guess they saw the improvement. No? And in Bacolod, the service was starting to deteriorate.
Yeah.
No? And, well, it's a long story. No? I mean, well, probably we wouldn't have the time now to discuss that. But long and short of it, the consumers in Bacolod, no, we're now saying na if na-improve ang Iloilo, no, in 5 years, tayo dito, the service is deteriorating. I mean, could you come and help us? No?
I'm a direct
The other
witness.
side of
I'm a
the
direct
flag.
witness to that because I live in both places.
You live in both
I live in both
places.
Bacolod and I know how bad it was in Bacolod.
Yeah.
And well, Iloilo na so. That's okay, yeah.
Uh,
But
so,
I'm familiar with, yeah.
yeah, so with that, I mean, it inspired us. And I asked, of course, the principal. And the principal said, well, if you think you could do a turnaround in Bacolod, no, in Negros, why not?
How do you do that? I mean, when you went to Bacolod, you worked for the local government?
No, well, the local government. Well, of course, I
How
mean,
did you make your
we
entry
had
point?
we had to talk to the local government, but basically, it was also well, and I'll be very straightforward here. Actually, it was also the co-op who realized that they
Seneco.
just Seneco
They need
board.
help. They need help.
Yeah, I mean, they were well, I would say humble enough to admit that they couldn't catch up, no, with requirement of the growing economy in Bacolod. So that's when they approach us. No, then
You're also sensitive to a lot of complaints.
yeah, so
Sure.
talk to the local government as well, no, and when we look for ways on how. On what was the legal way of doing, but what happened, and this is actually the first in the country, no, where we actually offered a joint venture arrangement
Is
with
that
the
the
co-op.
first?
That's the
pioneer
first.
thing? Okay.
That's the first, no? And I mean, there's nothing written about that, so it was really the
Who
first.
made
So,
the first move, Seneco or you?
no, we did, no? And well, I mean, if you look at it from a private transaction, you could have bought 100% of it and said, okay, I buy your assets,
Yeah, why not?
100%.
Why
But
don't you?
I felt that there's also the goodwill, one way or another, that the co-op has done the last 40 years. Okay, so well, I felt that I mean, the co-op should should have a should be rewarded naman, no? I mean, of course, I mean that reward can be in terms of price, no? But sabi ko hindi, if you want, you can stay up to 30% in this new joint venture company that we'll put up, which is the Negros Electric and Power Corporation.
Negros Electric
Power Corporation. So it ended up that we are now 70% and they're 30% owner of this new joint venture company that has the franchise over Bacolod, Talisay, Silay, Bago, Murcia, and Don Salvador.
Wouldn't that be an ideal structure with the other co-ops?
Yes, actually.
They can go into
you
partnership with
yeah, get in and make the improvements faster.
Yeah, I think, well, if they're just open, no, and probably be...
They're not open.
well, let's put it this way. I mean, there's resistance, no? From the consumers, many would want it. From the local government, many of the local executives realize that, I mean, improvement should be made. But, well, the resistance is from within, no? So, again, well, ang approach ko naman, unless you're open for then we can talk about it. But if there is resistance, I mean, ang hirap, no? Ang hirap. But, again, at the end of the day, I keep on saying, let's think of the benefits and I mean, what is it that we can do for the consumers now? If naman, I mean, you think that you could do that, consumers will be happy with then walang problema, di ba? But for as long as consumers complain, consumers compare, no, and consumers clamor that they'd like to have the same service as ours, no, then one way or another, you have to make a decision. No? Kasi one very one small item that we're doing, like well, Magna Carta says that if after 3 years the consumer has not defaulted on their payment, no, we are supposed to return their bill deposit. That's in Magna Carta. So in Iloilo, that's what we did. We started 5 years ago. Yung nag-qualify in that criteria, 3 years after, we returned their bill deposit. And many consumers were saying, pwede pala yan. Bakit hindi ginagawa sa amin ng to? Of course, we would say, well, we don't know. I mean, that's a decision of your management. But as far as we're concerned, I mean, if you are qualified for it, then we return. Kasi at the end of the day, ano naman, we don't have the intention of using their deposit for our operations. So it's actually just there, parked. And ano to. So sabi ko, tayo pa nag-a-administer niyan, no? And you have some administrative ano pa for that. So since it's not ours naman, and we can return it na, then we might as well return it to consumers. I mean, because consumers happy.
How big was that?
Well, up to now, I think if I look at the total, siguro nasa mga over 30 million pesos. No? In Iloilo, no? That we've returned to consumers. No?
So, bill reduction.
Well, not really bill reduction, but we really give them their check. Yeah.
We have a commercial break at this point. We have a commercial break at this point, so we will return.
And this break is brought to you by Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart. Live more today. Union Bank. It starts with you. Usapang OFW is the show that honors the journeys of our modern-day heroes, our OFWs. Join Chingmi Fernandez, John Dodson, and Rafi Ayang every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. to hear the real stories behind the sacrifices. Watch it live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Want to hear from thought leaders shaping our world? Straight Talk with Chito Lozada and Montelibano dives into leadership, politics, and business every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Catch conversation live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Ready for the hot takes of today's biggest issues? Hot Patatas with Vernon Velasco and Carl Magadia delivers the news that matters. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Tune in live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok, where the real talk happens.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister. Today, the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as UTOL, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing, with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion, as if it was rendered by your own sibling.
Utol ka ba? Dito ka na. Utol ka, iingatan kita.
Now, who would you prefer to drive you home?
Utol ako, mangangalaga sa'yo.
UTOL, the ride-hailing app to consider.
Mga ka-tribu, we're back with the More Power President and CEO Roel Castro. So, Ted, you have
Yes.
a question.
I want you to talk about as we learned that you have recently or it has been some time already. Recently appointed, or how do you say that?
Elected.
As the head of the Iloilo Economic Development Foundation,
Yes.
which is actually a very strategic position.
That's right.
Because you're head of the power, so it's incumbent upon you to make sure that as head of the business organization or the business club in Iloilo, that you can ensure that businesses will be assured of reliable power.
That's true. Yeah.
But also, your sister company is International Port. ICTSI, right? No?
Yes.
So you have already installed. They have installed that infrastructure. In Iloilo.
Yeah. They took over the operations from
Yes.
PPA, no?
From PTA, yes.
Yeah, for the International Container Port, no?
Okay,
Which is
yeah.
now called the Visayas Container Terminal, VCT.
And you were saying something about there's no problem about this foreign ships coming in.
That's correct.
The problem is going out. They have nothing. There's no backload,
Yes,
so to speak. No.
yes.
So
Yeah.
and so you were telling us you were suggesting to the club
Yeah.
that
Yeah, it's actually a well. On one hand, you may look at it as a problem. I look at it as an opportunity. Okay,
It's an opportunity,
that's
actually.
true. That's true. Now, actually, it really calls for a very I would say, comprehensive approach, no, from Iloilo. Well, not only from private, but even from government, no, on how we could, what industries, no, could we develop in Iloilo, so we could fill in, no, into those ships
Export.
that are going out, no, and if I'm not mistaken, we're actually talking of about 5,000 container vans a week.
So
A week.
what's the feedback? I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think is the most viable?
Yeah. So there are a number of suggestions actually, no, and well, I just don't want to preempt, no, because we're still going on our strategic planning, no, very soon. But everybody's aware that yes, I mean there is really this high demand, or it's high time for us, no, to develop this industry, and one of it that we're seeing is the bamboo industry. No? Yes. One of the I would say nurseries, no, of bamboo in the Philippines is actually in Iloilo.
Which parts?
This is Haniway, Lambu, no, that
okay.
side. No?
Yeah.
Now, for one, there has been a very high demand of, let's say, bamboo materials. No, I mean, if you would see it in homes, no, in Japan and in other
Not
countries.
bamboo raw material, but bamboo made finished product.
Correct. Yes. No. I mean, bamboo floors.
Yeah.
No, yung mga cladding, furnitures. No, so many. No, and
Is there high demand for that?
yes.
Oh, Japan.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
I can believe it.
Yeah, and European countries actually would want to have the natural bamboo over this, synthetic
Yes.
bamboo.
Yeah, right.
Okay? So, then, I mean, there is a demand. Malaysia is doing it. Vietnam is actually doing a lot of exports on that now. So the question is, I mean, can we do it? Well, I think we can. No? Among the industries that we've lined up, but again, I mean, it still needs a lot of, I mean, we have to start from somewhere when it comes to that. No?
Other than bamboo.
Of course, I mean, we're looking at, there's a lot of agri products in the province. No,
But you need to mass produce this. You need to manufacture this in volume.
yes, well, there would be, and we're trying to see if there are industries that we could develop, let's say, downstream. No, I mean, not really, not just, let's say, from the fish, just dried fish or fresh fish, no, but I mean, see if there are some industrial things that we could do.
Maybe called sugar. That's
Sugar is another.
Well, Iloilo also has sugar.
Yes,
Two
yes.
sugar mills
not
there.
Bacolod.
Two,
Yeah, not as big as
Not as big.
Bacolod. Yeah, but again, I think whatever that is, this is something that would that actually poses to be an opportunity for us in Iloilo. As I mentioned earlier, any city would want to have their own airports. Now you have the airport. They would want to have the seaport. You have the seaport. Then everybody would want to have that international. And yes, of course, you can do it via Cebu or what, but this one is right down your lane. I mean, it's in Iloilo. It's there. No, so I mean, what opportunities could we come up with given this? No? So again, I don't want to preempt it because we're just on a very infant stage on
Not a
that.
lot of people know that Iloilo is actually the regional center. Right?
Yes.
It's a regional center for Western Visayas.
That's correct.
Western
Yes.
Visayas is comprised of Iloilo, Bacolod.
Well,
Negros.
until recently, when there is now this
The new-
Negros
the new,
Island region,
NIR.
NIR.
Which is
Yeah.
more-
Yeah. But still, I mean, for me, I think both regions complement each other.
Which region?
The new Negros and the
But
Western
isn't that part
Visayas.
of, isn't that part of, no?
Western Visayas?
Yes.
No more. That would be a separate region by
Separate.
itself.
I thought you have to make it integrate it into.
No. What happened kasi...
Negros Island region is what?
No.
What is comprised
Dati kasi, Region 6, Central 5, 6 or 5, Central Visayas,
Six.
no, was Cebu and Negros Oriental.
That's Eastern Visayas.
Yes. No, that's Central Visayas.
Central Visayas.
Then the Western Visayas is Iloilo and Negros Occidental. So now, the new NIR is the whole island of Negros. So Negros Occidental and Oriental are now in one region.
They're integrated.
Yeah. Oh, kasi I mean it makes sense naman because I mean they're in one they're in one island. No? So it's now separate from
And then
Western Visayas and Central
So
Visayas.
Negros Occidental is no longer part of Western Visayas.
No longer. Yeah.
Wala akong Western Visayas.
You're not.
I'm split.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to business, when it comes to I think, the complementation between the two would still be there. No? So
Would that make it any different from the previous setup?
I think, I think there would be efficiency. No, there would be efficiency now because, because the regional office used to be in Iloilo, so those from Bacolod would come to Iloilo. So now, I mean, yeah. But when it comes to business, again, I mean, business doesn't recognize borders anyway. So it would always complement each other. Yes.
Okay, sir. So what are your plans for the next 5 years? You said you've achieved already what you
Yes.
set out, your first 5-year mission.
Yes.
So beyond 5 years, what can we expect?
Well, for Iloilo, definitely, I mean, we'd like to bring the kind of service to the next level. No?
Which is?
And, we know that there's a demand for high data, big data things, no? And that calls for more stable electric, power supply, things and that. And this could be achieved if, you do more investments, no? I mean, to really, and we're trying to see if we could position Iloilo for that. No, and I think we are ready.
Isn't that energy intensive?
Sorry.
Setting up of data centers.
It is.
That was.
Energy
And
intensive.
very much.
Intensive.
Yeah, very much, very much.
Can you sustain the setting up of such?
Yes, yeah. Well, actually, right now, since the last 2 years, I would say, we've already sent our people to different countries, to look at this particular segment. No, and what are the requirements? I mean, how do you achieve such reliability and the requirements of the big data users? And we're actually gravitating towards that. No,
Which companies would the data centers?
big. I mean, these are international companies, no? So while the others,
Google's looking at the Philippines.
yeah, while other areas would still be struggling to have better services for their electricity. Now, since we've already achieved that, no? So we're trying to see if we could go to the next level. Yeah. Then, of course, I mean the expansions. No, Bacolod or Negros, we just took over last year.
Yes.
We're just starting with the the rehabilitation and then modernization. Bohol, we also started late last year. Yeah, and it's also we're also there to put in the.
There was an existing.
There was, which we took over from them. No, so I mean, those are the things that would keep us busy.
But Bohol doesn't have a lot of industries, no?
None
It has
yet.
a lot of hotels.
Yeah, because it's really a tourist. It's really a tourist. But like in Panglao, no, the new airport of Bohol. If I'm not mistaken, there are 6-7 flights, international flights. No, Singapore, basically, largely rather, Korea.
Yeah.
No, so a lot of tourists.
So they have a new international airport.
Yes, yeah. So that's I mean the growth there for hotels, services. No, I would say is really the opportunities are really a lot. Yeah.
And a huge part of your energy mix is from renewables.
We're about, well, Iloilo, we're about 40-45% renewable,
That's,
basically from geothermal.
Most
No?
of it are from geothermal.
Yes, no?
Where?
Because geothermal is a, well, I would say, from Leyte and Negros.
Leyte.
And Negros. No? It's stable. No? I mean, it's stable when unlike solar and wind. It's so intermittent depending on.
And
Yeah.
you have a little misgiving about solar.
Yeah.
Well, if solar alone,
Solar alone.
Is that reliable?
yeah, because again, I'll put it this way. I mean, unless our demand would be intermittent, then that's perfect.
It's not,
No, but if our demand for power is like this, we want it constant. When you want your ref to have constant coldness, when you charge, you want it. Ano to. So, if that is your demand, if that is our demand, and then your source is intermittent, it can never meet. Unless it is, part of a portfolio, or unless it is mitigated, to meet the demand of the consumers. Until that happens, then, having it standalone for me, is, not too efficient, I would say.
it's not the case. Do you see a time when, in the near future, when this can happen?
Yes, well, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, this happened to us one way or another last year, when there was a 4-day brownout.
I was there. I was on my way back to Manila.
Well, it happened at around 12 noon
We
of
came in
January
from Boracay,
2.
noon. We came in from Boracay. I arrived. I was going to take my
Yeah.
plane back to Manila. And boom!
Yeah. And at 12 noon,
4 days.
4 days.
Look about 4 days.
Straight?
Yes.
at 12 noon, when the solar is at its peak,
What happened to that?
well, there was one plant that actually, I don't know which, because I mean, until now, that has not been resolved between NGCP and the generation plants.
That's
If who went first. Okay,
Yeah, who went
but long and short of it is that there was a disturbance in either generation or in the transmission that led one plant to go down.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rescue power or ancillary power should have come in from Leyte, except that when it got to Negros, the lines were full of, it was clogged because by renewable. So power couldn't come in.
So do you
as
know who
fast.
was the culprit?
Well, I would say at that instance, yes. No, because it was clogging the lines. So the rescue power, the ancillary power, was not able to come in on time to rescue those plants that were going down one by one. So I think, I've also been reading what happened in Spain recently. Spain, Portugal, in the
Similar?
Iberian.
Similar.
Yes, there's some similarities, no. But of course, I mean, I'm not in a position to make that conclusion. No, I mean, there are so many bulletins still coming out. But at that time, Spain was about 85% renewable. No, and then there was a disturbance in the frequency. One plant went down. Rescue power was about to come in, but it was clogged by renewables. No, so again, it couldn't get to the plant where it should rescue. Boom! Then one plant to the next, cascading. It tripped.
So what
causes the clogging?
No,
Different frequencies of electricity?
Well, one thing that we have to realize is, in the lines, in the transmission lines, distribution lines, the electrons actually are there. No, there are electrons that are running from your generation to your appliances, to make it run. And there is such a thing when it comes to electricity called inertia. There has to be that inertia. For the electrons to push it to get into the appliances that it's supposed to power up. Now, in the case of intermittent renewable energy, you don't have the inertia. Well, assuming now it's sunny,
you weather?
so you are producing, then there's a cloud cover.
But,
So when a cloud cover comes in, then you don't produce anything.
but that's
So it wouldn't push. It wouldn't get to the way to imagine it. It's just like water pipe. Okay, so you have water running through it. Well, and it should run 24/7 at the correct pressure. No, but if you will have, if you don't have the correct pressure, no, and it's intermittent, then water will stay in the pipe.
Yeah, it's stable there.
Yeah, it will just stay in the pipe. It wouldn't get to the to the ends, no, to flush out the water. So you need this. You need an inertia
To push it.
to push it.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's science to it. There's,
Basics of
the physics of
The
it. Yeah.
government is into renewables. I mean, they're pushing RE. But isn't this considered? This should be like a safer.
Well, right now, well, I guess with what happened in Europe, well, this is something that well, even scientists would have to go back to the drawing board because
I mean, look, a lot of money is being invested into RE. Huh?
Yes.
The Yalas into it.
yeah.
I guess I would imagine that they would
Well,
figure
ako,
out.
personally, I think, yes, I mean, well, I would consider this as new technologies, no, maturing technologies. And I think we haven't really we haven't gone into the point when we already know everything about it. Because otherwise, I mean, why is this happening? No, I mean, there's so many theories, so many, of course, those who are pro are saying that's wrong, those who are
there's so
no,
many
but it just means,
contingencies to it.
it just shows that, well, it has not yet really matured. Well, that's my personal view of it.
Well, for
no?
example, that cloud cover is a contingency that
Yeah.
should be put into consideration when you plan all these things.
Yeah, that's why some some setup, no, is that they have what they call the load following. So while you have the renewable, you also have another plant that's actually running.
Yeah. So
No, to make sure that your frequency,
it's moving.
yeah, while this one is intermittent and variable, you have something that's coming in to get it to the end, to our end, because we want something that's stable. Yeah, so you need somebody to something, no, to provide the inertia, no, and they call it the load following, no, so, one way or another.
So, Mr. Castro, we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
So, can we have your final words?
Yeah. So again, thank you very much po. No, this is my second appearance here, and well, thank you for, thank you for inviting me again. No, because I guess, you've been somehow following what has been going on in Iloilo. No, and we're happy. Well, at the time, we were just talking about Iloilo, no, but this time, we already introduced. We're in Negros, we're in Bohol, no, and the company is growing. But more importantly, I hope, no, I mean, I could speak for the consumers, no, that they're happy with the kind of service that we're doing for them. At the same time, we're trying everything, all that we can to bring down the rates to our consumers. No? Yeah.
Great to know that. So thank you also for your time and the information that you have shared with us. More power.
Thank you.
More power.
Thank you. More
Very
power.
appropriate for the company.
Salamat po.
You know, I'm glad to know about More Power doing a fantastic job in a place or in two places where I have family.
Thank you po. Salamat.
So that's it for our Straight Talk program. So see you next week for another episode of the program.
Straight Talk.
So I'm Chito Lozada.
I'm Pwede Montelibano, and this has been Straight Talk. Thank you very much.
Mga katribu, it's another Wednesday.
Ba't iba-iba ang distribution charge sa residential customers? Sa pagko-compute ng distribution rate para sa residential customers, sumusunod tayo sa tinatawag na socialized structure. Ibig sabihin, kung mas mababa ang konsumo, mas mababa din ang charge. Itong ganitong klaseng socialized structure ay ginawa ng gobyerno natin upang makaagapay naman yung mga kababayan natin na titipid o di naman kaya ay hindi kalakihan ang konsumo ng kuryente dahil limitado ang kanilang appliances sa bahay. Ang Lifeline customers naman natin na 100 kilowatt hours and below, may kaukulang discount rin na nag-a-apply sa kabuang bill. So that includes of course yung distribution charge rin. Para sa ibang katanungan, ask Manong Joe lang. Hanggang sa muli mga katribo.